Father, come to me. False is the ruler and population. False the love of all relations. Karmically binding me. Come to me, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. Gold is false, silver is false. Gold is false, silver is false. All material lifelessly. Come to me, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. Dust thou art, and to dust returnest. Thus the miserable body of me. Come to me, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. Everything is on the way to destruction. Everything is on the way to destruction. Eternal truth is only thee. Come to me, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. I'm alone among all these, feeling in heart only thee. Come to me, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. Oh, dear Father, come to me. Oh, my Master, come to me.
So now, One last.
Welcome to satsang, everyone. Nice to see you. Wow. What a holy day, huh? It's a holy day whenever we think of Master is a holy day. And every day is a holy day because we have satsang every day. So I'm very happy to see all of you. Let me read the beautiful schedule. For those of you who did not see the gorgeous schedule that has the two swans in it, here it is. It's just amazing schedule with Master and the swans. And that's our future when we become pure and white hearts. When our heart will become white like the swans, that is when we enter the kingdom of God. And thank you for our Savidars, for the beautiful, gorgeous schedules every day. And we're gonna start by a hymn by Nisha, and it is Lord has come as saints to complete our work. Then there are a few words from me, and then Brother Barry and did the Ishwar Puri Ji Spiritual Gems compilation, and he compiled by Barry and Brother Narendra. And the topic is Mind Speaks and Soul Listens. Wow, Mind Speaks and Soul Listens. And then we're gonna listen to our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji and meditate together in love and devotion. So let's start with the hymn of Nisha.
Radha Swami, today's hymn is by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and here Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, "The Lord Himself has come in the form of a saint to resolve all our issues and complete all our tasks. In every task we do, in each aspect, the Lord is present. The entire creation is beautiful, the land, ocean, everything. Because within all that lies the Amrit Jal, the holy ambrosial water. By drinking this water, my job is complete. All my desires are fulfilled. Blessings and grace pouring from all over, and all my sorrows are over. The imperishable Lord has kept his promise and shown his true nature. Nanak meditates on the Naam, the name of the Lord. संता के कारज आप खलोया हर कम करावन आया राम दर्द सुहावी ताल सुहावा विच अमृत जल छाया राम संता के कारज आप खलोया हर कम करावन आया राम अमृत जल छाया पूरन साज कराया सगल मनोरथ पूरे जय जयकार भया जग अंतर लाथे सगल विसूरे संता के कारज आप खलोया हर कम करावन अछुत अभनासी जस वेद पुरानी गाया अपना बिरद रखया परमेश्वर नानक नाम धियाया संता के कारज आप खलोया हर कम करावन आया राम हर कम करावन आया राम. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord Radha Swami.
Sister Nisha, there are no words enough to thank you for the seva for our Holy Father. Wow, your voice is godly and the love, everything is so much appreciated. And the words of the song that says, the Lord has come in the form of a saint. And the Lord has come in the form of a saint. It's just amazing, which is the truth. I remember when Sant Singh came into my life and I went to see him. I traveled all the way to Oregon, not knowing where I'm going. Something pulled me there. Love pulled me there. And I didn't know if it's a cult. You know, my mind was doubting. I remember I'm sitting in the bus. It was like a few hour drive bus from Portland to Roseburg in Oregon, that's where the ashram is. And I remember sitting next to people and next to somebody, and we were talking. And I'm saying, I'm going to just see about this master, to see who he is. I don't know if it's a cult or what I expect there, but I'm just gonna go try it out. I remember, and when I reached there, it was we had in Oregon, we had a 304-acre organic farm on the mountains with its own spring, dormitory, kitchen, and places, and a big hallway where master can speak. It was just an amazing place, part of, like, as if the kingdom of God has been brought to earth, full of fruits, of all kinds of fruits, all kinds of apples, cherries, whatever you think of, and gardens. People there could do seva, and there was a big meditation schedule. And I fell in love with that place. I fell in love with that place, and I became an ashram junkie. I would come to Chicago, work for a few months, and then save money, and then go do a retreat at our ashrams, which we had three, one in Florida, one in Oregon, and one in New York. And I would do seva there and stay at least 40 days and sometimes much more, and just enjoy living as a Savidar, working in the, and master had me working in all types of seva, in the garden, in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, wherever you think, construction, that we learn so much. We learn so much when we are in doing seva in the ashrams. They call, Sant Kirpal used to call them man-making centers to make man really from a beast into God, to make man from a beast-like being into a God-like being, into full God, into totality of consciousness. And those are the best places because they were away from, even the internet could not reach there, I remember, when I was there. And that was in the 90s and early 2000 that I used to go. And the cell phone did not reach, it did not work there, which is the greatest opportunity to get away from all technology and just have the schedule of seva, satsang, and then seva again, and then satsang again, and then meditation. And people used to meditate all night. It was the most amazing thing. And I remember the second day after me being there in the ashram, and I'm talking to some initiates, and they were saying, I was asking about Santakar Singh, and they said, you didn't know Santakar is God. And I was just like fully amazed, in awe, that really Master is God. And that's what Nisha in her song said, the Lord has come in the form of a saint. The Lord has come in the form of a saint. And I could see divinity coming out from my holy master, Santakar Singh. Every hair of his body was radiant. Even his turban was radiant. His walk was graceful. And I fell in love directly. They say, Ishwar Puri Ji said, when we are on the list of a perfect master, whatever he says, we just fall in love with every word that he says. When we are on a list of a perfect master, directly we accept him, directly we embrace him, and directly we start to take refuge in his holy feet. And I directly took refuge in the holy feet of my holy master, Santakar Singh. And I saw him as a saint. I saw him as a God man. I saw God in him. And that was really the highest blessing in my life, that my inner self, who gave me a vision of Santakar Singh even before I met him in 1995, he appeared to me inside and gave me, poured on me so much love. It was a mystical experience on the mountains of Utah, where I asked God for a teacher, and Santakar Singh appeared. I didn't even know that he has a human body. I didn't even know. And I felt so much love that the next year I took my girlfriend and I went to Utah expecting to have the same inner experience. But my attention was not fully on the master. And I guess because I had a girlfriend with me, and then I did not have the same experience. But 2 years later, in 1997, I was teaching a friend of mine how to meditate, and she was doing her PhD in archaeology in the University of Chicago. And then she called me the next day after I taught her like how to meditate, our own way. And then she said, "Do you want to come with me? There is a Santakar Singh meditation." And I said, "Yes, sure, I will come." The moment I entered that coffee shop, I felt my soul told me that this is what I was looking for, because I was seeking for years before reading books. Just my soul told me, this is what you're looking for. And that journey, the path of love, have started. And then the path of love continued, and now it's continuing. And it led me, that grace of Santakar Singh, after he left the body, he led me to Ishwar Puri Ji. He showed me that he is talking through the mouth of Ishwar Puri Ji. After that experience, I felt very relieved. I felt very comfortable to open my heart. It took some time to open my rocky heart to Ishwar Puriji. I was there going to see him. I was there. I was there getting the blessings, but my heart was not fully open. My heart was not fully open because I had said I have Santakar Singh, but I will come for the extra blessings. So I used to come for the extra blessings. But then in 2017, Santakar Singh showed me that he is talking through the mouth of Ishwar Puriji. That is when I totally opened my heart. That is when I decided not to miss a moment with him and to go to every community meeting and any chance that prevailed for me to travel with him or be with him. That happened. That happened by His grace, by His grace. How beautiful life is when the perfect Master appears. When the perfect Master appears in our life, that's it. Our whole life is changed, and we can compare ourselves, our beast-like qualities that were so dominant inside of us, and how they changed, how they dropped one by one by the grace of the saints, by the grace of the Master, and how, like that schedule that our dear Savidars did of swans, how he changes us slowly into swans. We become white swans. That is why they say there is in the inner experiences, the saints and masters say that there are the swans. We will see the swans inside. on the lake, Mansonover Lake, or I forgot, I don't know how to pronounce it, Mansonover Lake. That's when we take a dip there in that lake, the saints say, and we come out from crows into swans. We change, our inner selves changes from crows into swans. And that is what the perfect master does to us. Slowly, 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 he takes our, he's the best thief, Santakar Singh used to say. He's the best thief. When he meets somebody, he steals their heart. He takes their heart and puts his own heart, the heart of God. And then once that heart is done, put there, then slowly, slowly, we are slowly transformed. He transforms us. Life becomes more beautiful as we have inner and outer experiences of divinity. Godly coincidences start to rain on us one after the other. Inner experiences are there that builds our trust in the Master, builds our faith in the Master, increases our love and devotion, increases our love and devotion. So we start to plant in the soil of contemplation and reap the heavenly harvest. That's what we start to do. We start to plant in the soil of contemplation and reap the best and the greatest heavenly harvest. What is the heavenly harvest? That is the peace in our life. That is our bliss. That is walking with Master, is one of the best heavenly harvests that we take, is to walk in this world with the Master, to walk in this world with God in us, leading us, with God in us, leading us, and doing everything for us, doing everything for us. They say that in silence, we find God. In silence, the voice of God starts to speak to us. They say that there is a huge silence inside of us that starts to beckon us towards itself. And then it starts to teach us the language of the heavens. This huge silence that is in deep inside of us, it starts to beckon us towards itself and starts to teach us the language of the heavens. And the language of the heavens is the language of love. The language of the heavens is the language of love. We start to enjoy love, love of divinity, love of God, closeness with Master, closeness with Master, the presence of divinity in our life. That is all the heavenly harvests, compassion towards all, compassion towards animals, compassion towards our fellow human beings, compassion towards our enemies, love thy enemy as thyself. All these we start to reap as part of our heavenly harvest. Love, bliss, joy, patience, patience. We start to be patient as everything is one in patience. Perseverance. We never lose the path. That is also part of the heavenly harvest, that we stay on the path of God and we never let go of the hand of the Master. We never let go of the hand of the Master. We keep on holding the hand of love. And love showers us with itself. Love showers us with love. And love is the greatest heavenly harvest. Really, can we ask not for everybody wants to love, everybody wants to be loved. And when we are loved by God, then everybody in this world loves us. When we are loved by God, everyone in this world starts to love us because we are loved by the King of Kings, the Emperor of all creation. When the Master is living in us and showing himself to everybody, then everybody starts to love us. Everybody starts to love us because they feel the energy of the Master, the energy of the Master, the vibration of the Master, the love of the Master inside of us. And that's how we start to become more quiet, more quiet. They say a silent mind that the most powerful meditations comes from a silent mind, that the most powerful prayer is the fruit of a silent mind. What is a silent mind? This is what the saints say about the silent mind. What is the definition of the silent mind? The silent mind is free from all ties. It is free from all attachments. It is wholly merged into the will of God and dead to its own will. Wow, dead to its own will. These are the words of the saints and masters, that they say the quiet mind has no ties, nothing weighs on the nothing weighs on it, nothing weighs on the quiet mind, nothing worries the quiet mind. It's free from all ties. It is merged in the will of God and dead to its own will, dead to its own will. That means that God started to use that human body, that is that human body that has a quiet mind. God started to use the hands of that body, the tongue of that body, the eyes of that body, the hands of that body. God fully conducts that body as a full puppet, as a full puppet, that God lives in that body. God looks at this world through those eyes of a quiet mind, through those eyes of the Gurumukh who have reached that stage, who have silenced his mind and can enter in, can enter within. Enter ye in at the straight gate, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way. Narrow is the way that leads to life, and very few shall find it. Very, very few. And we are part of the lucky ones that have found that way, that have found that narrow way that leads into the oceans of love, oceans of divinity, oceans of bliss, and it leads to the inner master, the Guru Dev, the inner master, the lover of God, the lover of God, when his master visits him in meditation, it is the greatest occasion. It's the occasion that the lover starts to celebrate, that the lover starts to put his head on the feet of the master and say, thank you, thank you, thank you for visiting me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for visiting me. Most of us here came to Ishwar Puriji from different masters. Some came from Sharan Singh, some came from Sant Ajayib, some came from Sant Kirpal, some from Sant Takar Singh, and we all took refuge. We all took refuge in the holy hands, in the holy heart of Ishwar Puri Ji. And when we took refuge in the holy heart of Ishwar Puri Ji, then directly, automatically, we took refuge in the heart of the Emperor of the universe, Baba Sawan Singh. The Emperor of all emperors has accepted us. So all of us who came to Ishwar Puri Ji now have access not only to the Master that initiated us, but we have access to Ishwar Puri Ji, and we have access to Baba Sawan Singh and countless other saints, countless other saints. How beautiful life is when we have access to all the saints inside of us. When one day Santakar can visit, another day Ishwar Puri can visit, Ishwar Puri Ji can visit, and another day, Baba Sawan Singh can visit. And then it's all a godly party. And then one day, Sant Kirpal visits, and Sant Ajayib visits, and Sant Rijinder visits, and all the saints and masters are in the heart of the lover of God. The lover of God, the true lover of God, his heart is so big, it's so huge that it holds the hand of all the saints and all the masters, all the holy people. It has access to all the holy people because the heart of the lover of God is the big heart. And as I said, like Santakar Singh said, that he takes our heart and puts the heart of God inside of us, then we start to possess the heart of God. And the heart of God is the biggest heart. It, it is a complete heart, and it hugs all the creation. It hugs all the creation. It accepts all. It accepts all. It accepts all. That all are accepted in the heart of God. And that heart of God is growing inside of us. It's growing inside of us. When it grows inside of us day after day after day, it removes all the obstacles, it removes all the weeds that hold us, it removes all the veils, all the obstructions, all the curtains between us and the beloved. At some point, we're going to be so lucky that we're going to be wed completely to God. We're going to be the bride, and we're going to be accepted in the kingdom of God. And we're going to dance in front of Baba Sawan Singh, in front of Sant Takar Singh, in front of Sant Kirpal Singh, Sant Ajayab Singh. There will be a holy party with Ishwar Puri Ji inside the day we conquer our own self. I don't want to see the day we become pure love. That's what I wanted to say, as there's nothing to conquer really. All what we have to become is pure love. To become pure love, then we will be accepted, then we will become swans, and then all bliss, all love. Then our mind will never worry, nothing will weigh on the mind. We will be free of ties. We will be wholly merged in the will of God and dead to our own will. And that is really the life of the saints. They are dead to their own will, and God works in them, God speaks through them. God is their inner being becomes dominant. Their inner being that was hiding at some point now is fully manifested. Now the veils have been removed, and now that inner being, God in us starts to conduct our life, starts to conduct our life. And that is the recovery of our own silence, the recovery of our own silence, where we start to learn the language of the heavens, where we start to learn the language of the heavens, and we recover our own silence, recovery of our silence. Wow, that is very powerful words of the saints and master, to recover our own silence. That means our mind is now fully concentrated on the Lord with one pointed attention, full attention only on the Lord and nothing else. That means our Simran becomes 24/7. Our Simran becomes more powerful. Our Simran becomes automatic and all resounding 24/7. Simran, thoughts of Master, and just the presence, the love of the presence of divinity inside of us, that is present 24/7. And we live in that. We live in that. And to live in that presence is the life of happiness. And then we can become like Ishwar Puri Ji, 24/7 happy, 24/7 in bliss, and 24/7 in contact with Baba Sawan Singh. That means he can talk to Baba Sawan Singh 24/7. He can enjoy Baba Sawan Singh 24/7, and he became total. Total, that means he is operating on all levels in the kingdom of God, in the Par Brahm, in the super causal, and the astral and the physical. That will be our destiny in the future when we keep approaching more and more into divinity. When we climb the stairs of love, the heavenly stairs of love, and ultimately, whoever goes up the stairs has to reach the last step, has to reach the roof, the rooftop of creation. The rooftop of creation is totality. The rooftop of creation is totality. Nothing below is total. Even the regions of the soul, the regions of the Par Brahm, the soul is still separate from the Lord. The soul has recognized itself, it has realized itself, which is the best thing that a person can do. But there is something better, and that is the rooftop of creation. That is totality of consciousness. And we are all here after totality of consciousness and nothing less. Nothing less. That is why God is working on us. He's demolishing us, and He's making us into servants, servants of the whole humanity. to serve others before self, and not to expect anything back in return. What He is making us into servants. And then when we become the best servants, then we start to see when we serve everybody and we see divinity in everybody, then we start to love everybody because we see them as divine, and everybody in return, when we love, it is when we love someone, they have to love us because love comes back, and it comes back in a multitude. It comes back in a multitude. So when we love all the creation of Lord God, then the world, the whole world will start to love us back. Wind cannot hurt us, as Guru Nanak says in that beautiful shabd, Tati, I forgot the shabd, but the wind cannot hurt us, fire cannot burn us, water cannot drown us, and our enemies will become our deepest friends. Why? Because our love robs them of their weapons that they can use against us. Love takes away all negativity. When we love somebody, when we love our enemies, we rob them from their weapons. And then when they have no weapons to hurt us, they become our friends. And this is the life really. And I hope all of us will, by Master's grace, it's not a wish or a hope, it's a certainty, it's an absolute thing. It's an absolute thing that Master will keep dragging us. If we are in love with Master, he will keep dragging us. That want in us, that want to be with the divine, the want, the urge to merge, the deep feeling that we want to be with the Master will drag us from our hair into his lap. We are dragged right now by our hair. We are dragged by our hair to the feet of the Master. And that is the want in us, that is the urge, that is the deep thirst in us that needs to be quenched. It will only be quenched at the feet of the Master, and that drags us to him, that takes us there. We have to become total. Once we have a taste of the divine, once the perfect Master looks at us, whether it is outside or inside, then that's it. Then that's it. The golden chain is around our neck, and we are pulled by that golden chain, and nothing can stop us because the God power, the Master power, is the strongest power. The Shabd is the strongest power. Maybe Kal is lower than God in the power. Kal is so strong, but God is the most powerful. Satpurush is the most powerful. And when we are connected with the most powerful, we also become the most powerful. And then with that power inside of us, all lower powers will be controlled, and they will not be controlled by violence. They will not be controlled by subjection, but they will be controlled by love. They will be controlled by love. And love, love transforms our heart. It takes all our anger away. If somebody has no more anger, then how can he be perturbed by anybody else? If somebody has no more lust, no more greed, or no more attachments, then how can he be not happy? There is nothing that can pull him down. These are the weapons of the opposite power, the weapons that Kal possesses: anger, lust, ego, greed, and attachments. And souls suffer because they are engrossed in those five um, uh, enemies of the soul. But when one becomes pure love and one loses all these things, there's no more greed, no more attachments, no more anger, then the person is fully happy because nothing can pull him down. Nothing can pull him down. He can only be pulled up now because he is under the gravity of the kingdom of God. When those five ropes are cut by the grace of the Master, then like a balloon starts to fly with no ropes, the same thing, our soul will go out of the gravity of the three worlds out of the gravity of the mind and will start to dash towards the gravity of God, it starts to dash towards God and the kingdom of God, because now it's under the gravity of the kingdom of God. Once these 5 ropes are cut, then the soul is free, the soul is beyond time and space, and the soul starts to dash towards God. And that is our godly wish. Godly wish. All of us have all that godly wish because we want Sachkhand. And godly wishes are always satisfied. Godly wishes are always granted by the God power. Any godly wish, always directly granted. Any mind wish, if there is a wish from the mind, then God may grant it or may not grant it. That's up to him. If he sees that he needs to grant it because we need to have that wish of the mind, then he will give it, but then we will suffer. But if there is any godly wish, then that becomes a priority to God. As God wants to give us, God wants to give us. He's a lavish giver. He's the most generous giver. He wants to give us, or she, he is not a he or a she. He's a power, that power of love wants to give us everything, wants to drench us with everything. And he's waiting to give us. He's waiting to give us. He's waiting to give us once we become swans. When we become swans, the floodgates will open and he will flood us with his love, mercy, forgiveness, and grace. Led by the Spirit, they are no more under the law. We will be under the law of love, mercy, forgiveness, and grace. Once the 5 ropes are cut that holds us to the mental regions, then we will be under the law of love, mercy, forgiveness, and grace. That we're no more under the law of the karma, but we're under the law of the grace of the Master. Oh, this is what I wanted to say for today. Thank you, Master, for the seva. There is Brother Ashok. He sent me a beautiful 10 minutes of this person talking about his story, how he met Ishwar Puri Ji. It's 10 minutes. I thought if we will play it, it will be something very beautiful. He was called the guardian angel of Ishwar Puri Ji. I don't know his name. If somebody knows his name, please type it so we can see it. But yes, it was sent to me, and I said, oh, I should play it. So before I play the spiritual compilation, then I'll play that. So thank you, Master, for the seva. Oh, okay, cool. Let's enjoy that clip. It's just a voice clip.
"28 years ago, I come from a strong Irish Catholic background. I knew nothing about reincarnation, nothing about all these teachings of the Master. But I went to Elizabethtown College in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, to record this guy who was going to do a lecture for a week. And so I say, okay, I'm not really interested. I'm tired of listening to lectures. You know, I only want to listen to people who talk from experience. I'm tired of listening to people who read books and tell me this is what to do. So the first thing I go to find out about getting tapes of this guy I'm going to listen to. I used to do this for a living part-time. They told me, we have too many people, not enough equipment, we're not recording them. I said, well, I do that. I'll record them for you. So they said, you're now official recorder for the college. You go record them. First trick to pull me in. Next trick, I have to go in the auditorium and meet him and ask about putting the mic on him and such. I see him coming in the auditorium with all these people following behind him with their hands folded like this. I says, what kind of a guy is this? He thinks he's Jesus Christ or something? I'm very upset, right? I'm saying, this is not right. Somebody should tell this man he's an American now, right? So I meet him, and I said, I'm supposed to record you. I'm the official recorder. Yes, yes, good, he says. Everything's taken care of. So I sit on the first row when I record. Everything is wireless. So I put a wireless mic on him. Oh, and what I didn't know was the college was running a game. There's 700 people in the college, listening to all these various people talking. The game was, everyone is going to be assigned to be guardian angel to someone else.
Oh, right.
So somebody was my guardian angel, and I was somebody's guardian angel. It was picked by computer. And in this college, there was 3 big buildings, dormitories, 3 stories high. So they had to put the list out of where everybody was so you could find out where your guardian angel was. And you were supposed to write little notes or maybe give them a little gift. But you don't have to tell them who you are. So when I got back to my room and I opened my paper, I've been assigned to be guardian angel to Ishwar Puri.
Okay.
And I said, oh my God, I'm going to be guardian angel to the guy I'm tape recording, right? So then I said, where could he be? What building? He's right next door. So I immediately sit and write him a note. Dear Mr. Puri, I am your guardian angel for a week. And I think it's my responsibility to give you some spiritual advice. I think you should be more humble. I think you... Oh, this is true. What a dummy. And I slipped the note under his door. Now, the next morning, his secretary comes in, picks up the note, hands it to him. He reads it, he laughs, he hands it to his secretary and says to her, do you know who this is? She says, yeah, I know who that is. Who is it? That new man that's recording you. So now, they know who I am, but I don't know they know who I am, see? And so when I'm going to record him, usually you have to catch the speaker when he's ready to talk and get your tape recorder on. And then at 90 minutes, 45 minutes later, I have to switch the tape. So you lose a sentence or two. So he goes up on the podium, and I'm waiting for him to talk, and he's looking at me. He's waiting for me to give him the high sign. I turn the tape recorder on, give him the high sign, he starts to speak. I never had such a cooperative speaker do that. Then, when the 45 minutes, I flip the tape, he repeats the sentence. So I didn't miss the sentence. I said, he must be watching me. So the next tape, I'm watching him because I don't need to look. He's looking the other way. And I don't make no noise. I switch the tape, he repeats the sentence. What is it with this guy? I'm saying, what is he doing? Then there was a birthday party for his secretary. I was invited. Now, I never saw an afterglow. So I go in there, and here's he's sitting in this chair, and all these people sitting on the floor. Like, he's God, right? I said, oh, what am I getting into here? Again? What am I getting into? So I talked to God, I talked to Jesus. What are you doing to me? Listen, I'm asking you, you better help me. You better tell me and straighten this out, because if this is some occult group I'm getting into, it's your fault. You're putting me here. This is what's going on in my head. I was following a group called Eckankar.
Oh, right. Yes.
And Paul Twitchell was the master of Eckankar.
Yes.
All of a sudden, this guy changes in front of my face. I see Paul Twitchell. And I see his first disciples sitting on the floor. Oh my God, I said, this is how Paul Twitchell did it. And then I see him again. So through these experiences, and I was 50 years old. I'm now 78. In 50 years, I had never experienced love. I was afraid of it. I did not want to be hurt. I would not accept love. Before the week was out, he tricked me. And I felt a love that did not come from the mind, but come from inside. First time in my life I felt love. And it's never went away. So he knew that I had very poor self-worth. I'm going to go into a little further with this story. He knew I had poor self-worth, so he kept calling me his guardian angel. Made me feel like somebody,
Yeah.
you see? And then I had to go hear him a year later in Manhattan. My wife's name was Judy. My name's Huey, right? So in Manhattan, I listened to him speak. And no, I'm going a little wrong here. It was in that week that I met him that I did a healing ceremony. I was a healer at that time, and I was involved in healing. And they gave me a flower, and the next day, something told me inside, give him the flower, because now I felt the love.
Yeah.
So, and I took the microphone off, and I handed them the flower. And I said, this flower had a little bud. I said, you're the flower, I'm the bud.
Yeah.
And he put his hand on my head. Someone in the audience had a Polaroid camera, took the picture. He comes to me and says, look at this. A picture of Ishwar putting his hand on your head. That's a special blessing. I said, I didn't feel nothing. He said, you're a very lucky man. I said, well, would you give me a copy of the picture? He said, no.
No.
I give you the original. You send me a copy.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
Yeah.
I said, this is strange. What's your name? He says, my name's Huey. Huey. And this is my wife, Judy, he says. Oh, my God. I said, what's happening to me? And he gave me the original picture. Okay. And so, you know, I have the picture of when he blessed me with his...
I think we saw it at your place.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
that's
so.
the picture. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so when I went to Manhattan, there was an afterglow, you know, where they would sit and listen to him on the floor and all. And I went there, and there was nothing but doctors and lawyers there.
Yeah.
And so a man came to me and said, I'm Dr. So-and-so, I do brain surgery and all this. And what do you do? I said, I'm an electrician. Oh. And he walked away. You know?
Okay.
And then 2 or 3 others, I wrote 12 books on the inside of a banana peel or something. What do you do? Yeah. I'm an electrician. Oh, he walked away. So I says, I don't belong here. I don't belong with these people. They're all
High class.
high class.
Yeah.
What am I doing? If it wasn't for me wanting to see this man, I would leave now. So I went in the back of the room and stood in the corner and got very invisible. Okay. Then Ishwar comes in and they greet him and they take him to the front, sit him in a nice chair, and everybody sits down on the floor and everything's quiet, and he looks around. And he said, how many people here have a guardian angel? I said, oh my God. And they said, what are you talking about? He says, everyone has a guardian angel. I have a guardian angel. Not only do I have a guardian angel, but he's right here in this room, standing in the back. For a guy that felt like nothing, right?
Yeah.
You tell him how you become my guardian angel. That's why he told me to tell
right,
you.
okay.
Yes. And so I had to tell him.
Yeah.
The whole
Everybody's sitting there. And so when he left,
people were asking,
come on, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm very happy to meet you.
see how the
That's
table
great.
turned
That's
around?
great.
And then he taught me, finally, that I'm okay. That I'm as good, no better, no worse than any other soul. And he put me through the experiences to learn that.
Yeah.
So to this day, he still calls me his guardian angel. But I don't need it now
No.
for the original reasons.
No.
I'm happy to share it with you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you very much for
Yes,
sharing.
yes.
That was
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Did you guys enjoy? Did you like it? Did you like the clip? Yes? Okay, wonderful. Thank God. I just thought it was amazing. Thank you, Ashok, for sending it to me. Thank you, brother. I thought it was a wonderful story, just like how Ishwarji showed him that he changed himself to his master, Paul Twitchell or whatever his name is, and how he made him feel like he's worthy. Thank you for sending that clip to us. And now let's play the spiritual gems from Brother Barry and Brother Narendra and enjoy it. Afterwards, we're gonna meditate. So it's 37 minutes and then we will meditate. Okay.
The soul continues to be a listener right up to our true home. You're still a listener here. The soul is not a speaker. The soul never speaks. The soul has never used any words. The mind speaks. The soul uses the mind to speak. The soul listens. The soul uses the mind to speak and listens to what the mind has spoken. Therefore, all speech at the physical plane or astral plane is being done by the mind. Listening is always done by the soul. The mind can't listen. It's a very well divided function. And yet we don't realize people who listen more and speak less are closer to the spirituality than those who speak more and listen less. That is why it's a common advice that you've been given 2 ears, only one tongue. So please, at least listen twice. So, but the fact that the functions are divided in consciousness within us make it simple that if we listen, how do we use the listening capacity to transcend into higher levels of consciousness? We do not know where the sound is. We are used to sounds outside. So we use an external device called repetition of a mantra. We say we'll pick up some words or allow a master or a teacher or a guru to pick up some words and call it a mantra or a holy chant and say, he's given us these words to repeat and we keep on repeating. We don't repeat it because we can't repeat, we can only listen. We let the mind repeat and the soul listens. And that's how the listening starts. The listening starts. If we don't listen that way, then we are constantly listening to sounds outside of ourselves. And they distract us and keep us outside. If we want to take our attention within, then we have to listen to something that is within. Fortunately, the mind thinks its thoughts in words and language inside, not outside. Therefore, the thoughts of the mind, if we listen carefully, are also good enough. But the problem with the thoughts is the thoughts have association of ideas with outside things. And when we keep on repeating something which is in my thought stream but connected with something outside, for example, I came to this country, I found Shakey's pizza. I liked it. Now supposing I say I like Shakey's pizza, it's a good mantra for me. And I keep on repeating with my eyes closed, Shakey's pizza, Shakey's pizza. My mind is not inside, my attention is not inside, it's out in the Shakey's pizza. Therefore, any words that still have association outside, repetition of those words does not pull our attention inside. On the other hand, if there is something already inside, but not connected with outside, it can help to draw our attention inside. Very often, the mantras that are given by gurus in India, by the masters in India, are words with no connection with anything outside. But they have some connection with events that you might see inside. Therefore, they help, because the mantra can be anything so long as it is not drawing your attention out. Finally, I would like to say that the mind has a habit, built-in habit, of creating doubt. It was built for that. It's a good thing. If the mind never created a doubt, we would be so gullible, we would never learn anything. Anybody says anything, we'll believe it. The other person will say, we'll believe that. And we might be good yes men, but we will not be making any spiritual progress. I remember a story of the Russian Czar. The Russian Czar was entertaining the ambassador from Britain, from the United Kingdom, because there was a dispute as to who will hold Constantinople, an important port, Istanbul now in Turkey. Who will hold that port, because it opens a way to both Europe and Asia. So the Tsar had control over that. So he was going to give it to one of these big naval powers. So the British ambassador came and said, Your Excellency, Britain has the best navy, and the Britain can really take control of Constantinople, and you should give to us the management of that port. The Tsar said, Yes, Mr. Ambassador, yes, Your Excellency, I certainly agree with you. Then comes the French ambassador and meets him. He said, French navy is much better situated. It's closer to Istanbul, to Constantinople. You should give it to the French. He said, Yes, Your Excellency, you are right, and it should be given to the French. The Tsarina, wife of the Tsar, who heard this conversation, afterwards came and said, What kind of fool are you? The British come and says, give us the port, you say yes. And the French come and say, you give it and you say yes. Aren't you a fool? He said, Yes, my dear, I am. He was solving his problem by being a yes man. Now, it wasn't too bad at that time, because in diplomacy, it was all right. He was even diplomat with his wife. But the point is that we can sometimes resist things to a point where we create our own problem. The mind should not be made into a yes man at all. The mind is not built to be a yes man. It's to prevent you from that situation. How does it prevent you? By creating doubt, skepticism. It makes you question, which is a good thing. The mind always starts with doubt. Of course, the consequence of the doubt can be little negative. It is fear. When you are in doubt, you can be afraid. So therefore, doubt and fear are natural traits of the functioning of the mind. We have to accept them. That's what the mind was built for. So that it should have a doubt, it should be fear, and therefore makes us take precaution against taking undue risks and leaping into the dark. We don't want to leap into the dark. The mind is a good warning for us. It's a good system. That is why when we are trying to deal with the spiritual path, the mind also comes in and creates a doubt and says, how can I be sure? I may be misled into something wrong. Maybe it's not a God speaking, a devil is speaking to me. Maybe it's the negative power trying to distract me from what I'm supposed to do. It raises these questions automatically. And according to me, it's good that it raises these questions so that you can then tackle them, get answers to them. But if you can keep on examining continuously, even when you get the answers, just because you're being led continuously by the mind and not asserting your will is to take advantage of the mind's skepticism. Deal with the situation, learn about it, and move on. Remember, we have two wills in each one of us. The spiritual will that comes from our consciousness and soul, and the mental will that comes by thinking about things. Mind is a thinking machine. When the mind expresses a will, it's expressed by thinking about something and saying so. The spiritual will comes intuitively. There's no thought involved. It's a gut feeling that we get this should be done. This is the right thing. When the spiritual will and the mental will are in conflict, you have to decide which one should prevail. If we are never listening to the spiritual will, the mental will always prevails. And that's why we are leading a life of confusion, indecision, and constantly worrying about things, because we are only being led by the mental will. We have never asserted ourselves. We have never asserted that, look, mind, you have given your opinion, you've given your skepticism, you've given your doubt, now I have to resolve how much I can test out and find if it is true or not. I have researched and found out that this was not right, you're still keeping on giving me that advice, I ignore it. The spiritual will can do that. We don't exercise it. This is a case of intuition versus reason. A case of where you use your gut feeling against the feeling generated by your thoughts. There, ultimately, you should have the final say. Your intuitive will should have the final say. Your spiritual will should prevail, and not the mental will. So remember this also, that the mind is doing its function. Don't be carried away with it. It's giving you a warning. It's giving you an opportunity to investigate. It's giving you an opportunity to check out. Is it right or not? Then ascertain and use your spiritual will to ignore the mental will. So this is another very important thing in a way of life. So because if we continuously live with the mental will and in doubt, how can we make any progress on this spiritual path? We are continuously in a state of doubt and confusion. What causes confusion? So many people come to me and tell me, I'm confused. I said, after meditation, you go to the stage called Par Brahm, beyond the mind, you'll never be confused again. Never. It's the mind's function to create this skepticism, create the different options, and create confusion, which is the right thing to do. And therefore you get confused. Now, once you have the intuitive self working, your spiritual will working, you will always know what's the right thing to do. So therefore, develop that, use that more. Of course, with meditation, you can actually have an experience where you can separate yourself completely from the mind. See that the mind is a machine to help you. Mind was given as a very wonderful, effective machine to help you. But it's not yourself. It's not you. It's a mind. So you can use the mind. It's very good to use the mind. But horrible to let the mind use you. Horrible to make the mind your master. You should be the master of your mind, of your body, of your senses. You should decide how to use them. Not that these things should tell you how they should be used. So this is another tip I'm telling you, that when you have this experience of gut feeling and mental thoughts, the mind will warn you. Take advantage of it. But then with your gut feeling, overrule it when necessary. Many people tell me that our mind is bothering us too much. We can't meditate, our mind is not letting us meditate. I say, why do you let mind do that? Develop your spiritual will more and more. How do we develop? He says, very simple. The mind tells you do something on a particular day. Say no. Mind says there is no harm. Say no. Mind says one time only. Say no. Mind says, we'll forget about it. Say no. You know, if you say no only a few times a week to the mind, it comes under control. But you have to assert it. You have to assert. A man married a famous rider, horse rider, once, and he went and he was riding his horse, and the wife, newly married wife, was riding her horse, and suddenly that horse of the wife jumped and she fell down. She got down and said, this is one time. Again, after a few rounds, the horse again jumped and she fell down 2 times. Third time, the horse threw her down, she took out a gun and shot the horse, killed him. The man said, how dare you do like that? You hurt this animal? She said, this is one time. They lived happily ever after. This is the nature of our mind. We should tell it one time. And it comes under control. Not all the time. It's not necessary to fight the mind all the time. In meditation particularly, fighting the mind is thinking of something else. No, come back, I want to meditate. Mind goes away, come back. And we get tired after 2.5 hours of exhausting meditation. What good is that kind of meditation which exhausts you? If you have real meditation, you'll feel so energized. You'll feel so strong, like a new person. You'll get up, wow, what a wonderful day I'm going to have. There's a big difference in the two. So that is why develop your spiritual will and overcome the mental will. You make use of it as a warning mechanism, as a mechanism to tell you, please check out again. It's a good thing. Yes, check. But don't continuously live in the will of the mind. Because the mind's will definitely take you where the mind has got pleasure. The mind has got pleasure from the attachments and the desires of a created physical world. There's no question about it. Therefore, mind will run outside. Every time you want to let the mind will run outside. It will never let you go inside. So take that for granted. If you're only going to be going with the mind's advice, which are thoughts, you will never be successful in meditation. Because mind will always say you can find things outside. But if you want to go to the real spiritual truth inside you, which all mystics have said, the truth is inside you. You want to go there, you must exercise your spiritual will and develop that will so that you have the ability to say no to your mind. And when you have developed that, it doesn't take too long. Once the mind knows that you are in control, it will automatically obey you. In very first instance, it will obey you. You will be so surprised how pliable the mind can become, how obedient a servant the mind can become if you exercise your spiritual will. The mind is also interested in pleasures, but there are more pleasures inside than outside. Just because it hasn't seen it, it's just attaching you to things outside. Let it have a little good time also along with you inside. The mind will never run outside. So that is why, to have effective meditation, use your mind to help you, to go with you, and to have a joint ride with you. Let the mind come with you. And that happens. The mind, they say, is our greatest enemy on the spiritual path. And once it tastes something inside, it's your greatest friend also on the spiritual path. The mind likes pleasure. Not only likes pleasure of all kind, it likes a variety of pleasures. If you give it one pleasure, after some time it gets tired, wants something else. It likes a variety of pleasures. And therefore it switches from one to the other all the time. But when it gets the pleasure of variety of pleasures inside, it becomes your friend and travels with you. So remember these basic things about good meditation. They're not a ritual, not that you have to close your eyes and spend 2.5 hours. I say, keep on saying, 5 minutes of effective meditation with love and devotion is worth more than 8 hours of sitting mechanically and trying to find something. So therefore, make it effective meditation, useful, with the result that you can get. Otherwise, we are making it religion. Religions tell us the same thing. People do this. They've been going to church every Sunday for Mass, and now they go to satsang every Sunday for a satsang with a master. No change in their life, no progress inside, no experience inside or outside. Same fights at the house, same anger outside, same lust and greed as ever before. What kind of benefit did you get from this kind of spiritual life? Make it such a life that it shines out. People can see such a big difference in you. That what has happened? You're so calm and peaceful now. You are loving everybody and that's so detached at the same time. How can that be? But that happens just by effective meditation. So make full use of this effective meditation. Take advantage of it. Now, people can say, where can we hear the sound? They try to hear the sound. They can't hear the sound. Why can't we hear a sound if it is already in us, in all of us? There is no exception. You would not be alive if the sound was not there. Sound is life. Sound is what makes you alive. So, how come the very thing that's making us alive, we can't hear? Simply because the thing that hears, the part of us that hears, is called attention. Our attention is not on the sound. Attention is all scattered in an experience outside. Our attention is completely scattered outside. First, it is scattered in the body. We don't stay where we are supposed to be. It's scattered. We are aware of the whole body constantly. We are continuously considering this body to be ourself, and therefore the attention makes the body alive. Then from the body, we become conscious of everything that comes in contact with the body, including the whole physical world. So the attention is so scattered, it's so spread out all over, That how can we hear the sound? It's the same attention that has to hear the sound. Therefore, we have, by our own lifestyle, by our own way of living, prevented ourselves from hearing something that is in all of us. So what is the way? To pull the attention from things where it's spread out. That is why we use meditation as a technique. Meditation is not an end in itself. You can't say, I've been meditating, therefore I've realized soul. People have been meditating all their lives and got nothing out of it. People have been meditating and thinking of the whole world. If you meditate by closing your eyes, chanting words, but your mind is running all over the rest of the world, that is not going to help you at all. Meditation is when you can withdraw your attention from where it is scattered and bring it back to behind the eyes where you are in the physical world. It's as simple as that. Therefore, when we practice good meditation, high quality meditation, we do not just spend time in closing our eyes and chanting. We close our eyes in order not to obstruct our own vision by looking outside. We close our ears, we don't obstruct ourselves from hearing outside things. We try to sit within that little chamber, small chamber, on top of our head. In the physical world, this body, physical body, is the best thing that ever happened. Because only in this body you can have this experience. There are two good reasons for that. One, when you are in a physical body, you have the entire equipment to have all experiences that you like, including experience of the true, all the hells and heavens, all the experience of all higher levels of awareness, and ultimately a true home can all be experienced in a human body. A great thing. They say it's a temple of a living God. They say not temple of a God who we don't see and we worship outside. This is a temple of a living God because God alive is making you alive. That's why when you go into this temple, the temple that is your own human body, you find a living God. You don't find God in pictures or in statues or in images. You find a living true God. The true God of whom you are a part and who has made all creation possible.
Master, mind does not come in control, even in meditation. Even while doing Simran, thoughts go on. What to do? Please help.
Mind does not come in control in meditation, even while trying Simran, thoughts go on. What to do? Ignore them. You can't control them. Nobody controls them. If some people say, oh, we are great meditators, we control our mind, I would say, don't believe that. There was a great mystic. He said, if somebody came to me and said, he has been able to drink the waters of all the oceans, it's impossible. But for one moment I might believe it. Such a person might exist. If somebody says, I picked it up all the mountains, the Himalayas on my hand, it's impossible. But for one moment I'm willing to accept, maybe such a strong person could have been born. But if somebody says, I've controlled my mind, I'll say, no way. That is how difficult it is to control the mind. The mind will keep on thinking and distracting you. The harder you meditate, the more the distraction. You will see the mind becomes most active, hyperactive, when you try to meditate and put your attention away from the mind. So mind fighting. We have given it so much of our own power. We are the life force. Consciousness is a life force. We have made the mind alive. And we have made it so alive that it's become an independent entity. Using our life force, using our consciousness, the mind thinks it's independent. And the thoughts are trying to tell us what to do. Instead of our thinking about what we want to do. We are not using the mind has started using us. And that is why it's gone out of control. At this stage, to be able to successfully meditate, in spite of this nature of the mind, what one can do is to ignore the mind. How do we ignore the mind? Because the mind is a speaker and keeps on giving us thoughts in words, images. What we can do is to speak back. Of course, using the mind, because we don't speak, we only listen. Using the mind, we speak back. and reject what it says. It's a actual dialogue that we can generate in our own head. That the mind, especially for those things which the mind really wants, say no way. Say it a couple of times a day, 3-4 times a week. Mind becomes weak and says, what good is it trying to fight? And then you can ignore it. No matter what the thoughts are, your concentration will be on the thoughts you have picked up for yourself. And it works. So there is no way to control the mind any other way except to ignore it and move on. Today we will do that. Listen to ourselves. Now I want to mention what you are likely to listen to. The method to listen is the same. We can use any method. I just said yesterday, use the repetition of mantras and words. If you repeat them with the mind and listen with the soul, you are moving toward the soul. Soul is always the listener, never the speaker, never the thinker. Mind is always the speaker, always the thinker, never the listener. Understand, this is both fitted into our head. If you listen, even to what the mind is repeating, you are approaching the soul. And if you merely repeat and think of something else, it's only the mind working, soul is nowhere there. Soul is only giving life to this activity. So that is why listening is important. But when we are able to listen to our own generated words, which are the word we get as a mantra or word we coin up as a mantra, like I said yesterday, listening to it brings us closer and closer to our own self. When we try to listen in actual practical meditation, we find there are many other sounds also coming up. Some sounds are coming from the reverberation of the sound of the self. Some sounds are coming merely from the physical body. Some sounds are coming from the astral sense perceptions. The different sounds that are coming, they are sounds around the self. But the sound that comes from the self comes from the center. Same place where the third eye center is, right behind the two eyes in the center between the ears. That's from where the sound of the self comes. As we approach that by imagination, that we are there, sound can be heard. Everybody can hear. We all have the sound. If you start hearing it, it will take second, any time later on, to switch and you can hear it. Then it will be heard all the time, 24/7. You'll know that your soul exists because there is a sound. And that sound, if you approach it very close, can be very loud, but you can drop a pin here and also hear the pin. It's nothing to do with these ears at all. These ears still function the same way as they're functioning now, and their sound is totally different, can be heard inside. And that sound is the secret. But the sound looks like sound, like physical sounds, resembles the physical sound. In the beginning, it can resemble like the sound of a bell. Big bell. The kind that we put up in the churches in the belfry, and the dong, and the echo of the sound keeps going dong. It sounds like that. Comes from the center. Later on, the peal of the sound increases as the dong part is gone and the echo part goes on. Sometimes we catch the echo sound right in the beginning. Sometimes we have caught the other sound in the past lives and we very quickly catch up that sound. People have slightly different experiences at what point they catch up, what sound they catch up. But once you catch the sound, listening attentively, you're putting attention now, listening attentively to the sound withdraws your attention to the inner self faster than anything else that you can do. And listening to it is not like the kind of effort we make to repeat something. It's very different. Listening is far more enjoying something that is happening rather than you trying to get something. So listening to the sound is not so much of an effort as enjoying something happening somewhere. We go to a concert and we hear the songs, the music, the sound. We don't make effort to hear it. We enjoy it. It just comes, we enjoy. And that is how the meditation becomes when you are using the principle of the sound current, which is all emanating inside. You will hear it sometimes very low volume, far off. Sometimes it will come closer. Sound is not moving anywhere, it's in the center, it's in the self. Attention is moving. They are not used to putting attention, withdrawing attention. They are used to focusing attention. And therefore the practice needed is to hold the attention to the sound, and it becomes louder, and you hold it, it pulls you. You suddenly feel you don't know where your body is gone. But those who are really serious meditators, I want to give a word of caution. It's not necessary to hurry up through these things. Because when you hurry through this, it looks like you are dying. And some people have got so frightened, they have stopped meditating. They write to us, we were scared, we didn't want to meditate. Your meditation kills us. It doesn't kill you. It's called dying while living. Dying while living has been mentioned as a process of finding yourself. And in the Bible, Paul says, I die daily. So this is something very different from physical death. I must tell you my own dad's experience, who was his disciple. He was very impatient. Might have been an American past life, I don't know. He was very impatient, wanting quick results. And he was waiting for this opportunity, and he meditated a lot and almost died in the meditation, said never meditation again. So scary, it kills you. So went back to great master. Master, what you taught me, very scary, I am frightened, I am not going to do it anymore. Great master said, why are you afraid? It's a way of finding who you are. You are not the body. All you are finding out is that the body is not you. He said, Master, how am I sure? It looks like, first of all, looked like when the body became unaware, I almost thought I was going to suffocate. Then I felt that my body is gone. I am moving out of it. I have no body. It's a terrible feeling. Great Master said, take it easy, step by step. The word he used was darje by darje. So go step by step, very slow. First say, now the feet have gone. Now the hands have gone. Now legs have gone. Slowly, slowly, you will understand nothing is going. It's just an experience of withdrawal. Then he said, what do you think would happen if you really died? He said, I have faith that I will see you. He said, doesn't that faith help you at all? He said, let me tell you something more practical, statistically. People can die any moment, even natural deaths. Isn't it surprising that nobody has ever died, even physical death, during meditation? Is there some good statistic for you? Then my father got a little satisfied, and then he did stage by stage, slowly. Now when this experience happens, the sound can pull you very fast. And even if you find the sound pulling you, no other method of meditation is required. One method is good enough.
Now this sound is so amazing because it represents consciousness, it represents the truth. Therefore, when you catch the sound does not leave you, even though the experiences keep on changing. These experiences will change when you become unaware of a physical experience, a new world opens up. But the sound continues. Sound is a link between every experience that you have. What does the sound actually mean in our own understanding? The sound means the self, our own self, because coming from ourselves. Now remember, if you know who you are, even as a physical being, then you go to sleep. In the sleep, you are somebody else. You are younger or older or different. A woman can dream that she is a man. But even as a man, she will say, I am the woman who is a man. The self that was there in the wakeful state persists in the dream state. Self never changes. Fahim, Chinese philosopher, I told this story before, had a dream that he was a butterfly. And as a butterfly, he was flying, flitting around his wings and going in that garden, which had such beautiful flowers. And those flowers were radiating light and color. He had never seen those flowers in real physical life at all. And he said, this must be really the truth. And he went around those flowers, remarkable, heavenly, astral flowers. Then he woke up and he wondered, that experience was more real than this experience. Am I really a butterfly? Now having a dream that I am Fahim the philosopher? Or am I Fahim the philosopher who had a dream that he was a butterfly? He told his friends. He said, I had such a strange dream. In the dream, I felt I was a butterfly and I was flying around. The friend said, don't be stupid, you can't be a butterfly, you don't look like a butterfly. How can you be a butterfly? You should not say you are a butterfly, you should say I saw a butterfly flying in the dream. Fahim said, I never saw a butterfly. I was flying. I was flying, I had the wings. In fact, I could never see my own eyes because I was seeing things as a butterfly. What's the moral of the story? That no matter what form you have, the self remains the same. The same self that was Fahim the philosopher was the same self that was a butterfly. You, in whatever form you are, even if you become formless, the very self that you have today will be yourself. When you go to a dream state, no matter what form you have in a dream, it's the same self that wakes up and says, I had a dream and I saw this. Not that you saw somebody else, you saw yourself. That is why there's one thing in this entire creation, this entire universe, in all the experiences that never changes, the self. The self will never change. And that is why if we define reality as that which never changes, the only reality is the self. It never changes. Experiences all change. This world we are living in, everything changes. We grow old, things change, nations change, planets change. There great things happen, everything gets destroyed and again reborn. Nothing is permanent, but the self is permanent. Self remains the same. That is why it's good to know that self-realization is the highest achievement of reality. And if you have total self-realization, you have total God realization. Because totality of the self is what we call the creative power. It's when total consciousness becomes one. When we find it's the origin of everything, which is our true home, then we discover the discovery of the self or the secret to God realization. And that is why people say, go within to find the truth and not search outside anywhere. Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize your beloved and you express your love to the beloved in the best way.